If your ankles and feet are swollen by the end of every day, if you press your finger into your shin and the indent stays there for several seconds, if your shoes fit fine in the morning but feel tight and uncomfortable by afternoon, tonight I am giving you 1 cup of something specific that you drink before bed that begins reducing that swelling while you sleep. Not tomorrow, not next week, by morning. Because 1 cup, 30 minutes before bed, is all it takes to activate your body's overnight swelling reduction system and wake up with legs and ankles that are noticeably less swollen than when you went to sleep. The compounds in this cup directly support lymphatic drainage, reduce the vascular permeability that causes fluid to leak into tissue, and strengthen the vein walls that are supposed to be pushing fluid back toward your heart. And most seniors have never once been told about any of this because the 1 cup I am describing costs almost nothing, requires no prescription, and produces no pharmaceutical profit for anyone. Tonight I am revealing exactly what is in that cup, the science behind why it works, the research that proves it, and the exact recipe that takes less than 2 minutes to prepare. I am Dr. Michael Kent. I have been practicing internal medicine for over 22 years. Subscribe right now and drop a comment below with your city and your age, and tell me how long your ankles and legs have been swelling by the end of every day. I read every single comment. Now let us get into it, because by tomorrow morning, your ankles are going to look different. Let me start by explaining exactly what is happening inside your leg tissue when swelling develops, because most seniors have been given an incomplete explanation that leads to incomplete treatment. Ankle and leg swelling, medically called peripheral edema, occurs when fluid from your bloodstream leaks out through the walls of your capillaries and accumulates in the surrounding tissue space. Under normal, healthy conditions, this fluid leakage is minimal and tightly controlled. The fluid that does leak out is efficiently collected by your lymphatic system, a network of vessels that runs parallel to your blood vessels, and returned to your bloodstream. The result is a continuous, balanced fluid exchange that keeps your tissue at normal volume. But in adults over 60, this balance breaks down through 3 simultaneous mechanisms that compound each other. The first mechanism is increased capillary permeability. Your capillary walls, the microscopic blood vessel walls through which nutrients and fluid exchange with surrounding tissue, are lined with cells called endothelial cells. These endothelial cells are held together by proteins called tight junction proteins that regulate how much fluid passes through the capillary wall into surrounding tissue. When chronic low-grade inflammation is present, as it is in the vast majority of seniors, inflammatory cytokines, including TNF-alpha and interleukin-1, directly damage these tight junction proteins. The capillary wall becomes leakier, more fluid escapes into the tissue, and that excess fluid accumulates as swelling. The second mechanism is reduced venous return efficiency. Your veins contain one-way valves that are supposed to prevent blood from flowing backward as it makes its way from your feet back up to your heart against gravity. As we age, these valves weaken, blood pools in the lower leg veins, the pressure inside the veins increases, and that increased venous pressure pushes more fluid out through the capillary walls into the surrounding tissue, compounding the swelling created by increased permeability. The third mechanism is reduced lymphatic drainage capacity. Your lymphatic system, which is supposed to collect the excess fluid and return it to circulation, becomes less efficient with age. Lymphatic vessel walls lose their contractile strength. The pumping action that moves lymph fluid upward through the legs slows, and the overnight drainage that is supposed to clear the day's accumulated swelling becomes insufficient to fully resolve it. This is why most seniors wake up with less swelling in the morning than they have by evening, because horizontal positioning removes gravity's contribution and allows whatever lymphatic drainage remains to partially clear the overnight accumulation, but they still wake up with some residual swelling because their lymphatic system no longer has the capacity to fully clear even the overnight load. The cup I am about to reveal addresses all 3 of these mechanisms simultaneously. It reduces capillary permeability by addressing the inflammatory damage to tight junction proteins. It supports venous wall tone by providing the nutrients that maintain vein wall integrity. And it activates and enhances lymphatic drainage by delivering compounds that directly stimulate lymphatic vessel contractility. That cup is a specific preparation of dandelion root tea with 2 additions, horse chestnut extract and a small amount of raw apple cider vinegar. Let me explain each component and exactly what it does. Dandelion root tea is the foundation of this bedtime cup, And before you dismiss it as an old folk remedy, the research on dandelion root and fluid regulation is genuinely compelling. Dandelion root contains a compound called terexatin that directly stimulates lymphatic vessel contractility, increasing the pumping rate of lymphatic vessels and enhancing the speed at which excess fluid is drained from peripheral tissue. A study published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine found that dandelion leaf and root extract produced a significant and measurable increase in urinary output and fluid clearance in healthy adults, with the critical distinction that unlike pharmaceutical diuretics, dandelion achieved this without depleting potassium levels. Potassium depletion from conventional diuretics is one of the primary reasons that diuretic therapy for leg swelling often creates more problems than it solves, because potassium is essential for vein wall tone and muscle function. Dandelion root also contains luteolin and apigenin, flavonoids that directly inhibit the inflammatory cytokines responsible for tight junction protein damage in capillary walls. By reducing TNF-alpha and interleukin-1 activity in vascular tissue, dandelion root helps restore capillary wall integrity, reducing the leakiness that allows fluid to accumulate in the first place. The second component is horse chestnut extract, specifically an extract standardized to contain aesin at a concentration of 50 milligrams per serving. Aesin is the primary bioactive compound in horse chestnut seed extract, and its mechanism of action for leg swelling is one of the most well-documented in natural medicine. Aesin directly activates the production of prostaglandin F2 alpha in vein walls, a compound that increases the contractile tone of venous smooth muscle. Stronger, more toned vein walls pump blood more efficiently back toward the heart. Venous pressure in the lower legs decreases, and the pressure-driven leakage of fluid into surrounding tissue is directly reduced. A Cochrane systematic review, the gold standard of medical evidence synthesis, analyzed 17 randomized controlled trials on horse chestnut seed extract for chronic venous insufficiency and leg swelling. The conclusion was clear and consistent. Horse chestnut seed extract significantly reduces leg swelling, leg pain, and leg heaviness compared to placebo, with a safety and tolerability profile comparable to compression stockings, but without the compliance difficulties that make compression stockings so impractical for many seniors. The review found that aesin at 50 milligrams twice daily reduced leg volume, measured by water displacement, by an average of 43 milliliters more than placebo over 12 weeks. That is a measurable, clinically meaningful reduction in the amount of fluid accumulating in the legs. Horse chestnut extract is available in supplement form, standardized to 50 milligrams of aesin per capsule, and can be taken alongside this bedtime cup or added directly to it as a dissolved powder if available in that form. The third component is 1 tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar, added to the dandelion root tea after brewing. Raw apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid and multiple organic acids, including malic acid and citric acid, that have been shown to support lymphatic function and reduce tissue acidity. Chronically acidic tissue, which occurs with poor circulation and fluid accumulation, impairs lymphatic vessel function and slows drainage. The alkalizing effect of apple cider vinegar on tissue pH, despite its acidic nature in the bottle, ACV has an alkalizing metabolic effect once consumed, directly supports the lymphatic drainage environment in swollen tissue. Additionally, raw apple cider vinegar contains potassium, approximately 11 milligrams per tablespoon, which supports vein wall tone and complements the potassium-sparing effect of dandelion root. And its acetic acid content has been shown in research to reduce the activity of inflammatory enzymes in vascular tissue, contributing to the tight junction restoration that reduces capillary leakiness. Use raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar, the kind with the mother culture visible as cloudiness in the bottle. The mother culture contains the beneficial bacterial and enzymatic compounds that produce the anti-inflammatory and pH-supporting effects. Filtered clear apple cider vinegar has been processed to remove these compounds and is significantly less effective. Now let me tell you about Henry. Henry was 73 years old when he first came to see me. He was a retired postal worker who had spent 35 years walking delivery routes, and his legs had served him extraordinarily well throughout that career. But in the 8 years since his retirement, his legs had been progressively deteriorating. By the time he came to see me, his ankles were visibly swollen by noon every day. By evening, his legs from the knee down were puffy, tight, and uncomfortable. He could not wear his regular shoes after 2 p.m. And every morning he woke up with residual swelling that took until mid-morning to partially resolve, if it resolved at all. He had been prescribed a low-dose diuretic, hydrochlorothiazide 12.5 milligrams, by his primary care physician. It helped somewhat, but caused him significant fatigue and muscle cramping, classic signs of the electrolyte depletion that diuretics produce. He had been wearing compression stockings for 2 years, which he found uncomfortable, difficult to put on due to arthritis in his hands, and only partially effective. His vascular assessment showed bilateral chronic venous insufficiency, weakened vein valves in both legs, combined with moderately impaired lymphatic drainage. The structural problem was real, but his nutritional support for vascular and lymphatic function was virtually non-existent. I introduced him to this bedtime cup. I explained the mechanism of each component exactly as I have explained it to you. And I gave him one specific instruction: drink it 30 minutes before bed every single night for 3 weeks before deciding whether it was working. At his 3-week follow-up, Henry pulled up his trouser leg before I had even sat down. He wanted me to see his ankle. It was visibly less swollen than it had been at our first appointment. He told me his shoes had fit comfortably all day for the past 5 days, something that had not happened in years. His morning residual swelling, which had previously taken until mid-morning to partially clear, was now gone within 30 minutes of waking. He had spoken to his prescribing physician about reducing his diuretic dose, and with medical supervision had reduced it by half without any increase in swelling. He told me, "Dr. Kent, I spent 2 years fighting my compression stockings every morning. I spent 2 years on a medication that made me tired and gave me cramps. And one bedtime cup that costs me less than 50 cents a night did more than both of them combined. Here is your complete recipe and protocol. Brew 1 cup of dandelion root tea, using either a dandelion root tea bag or 1 teaspoon of dried dandelion root steeped in hot water for 10 minutes. Allow it to cool to a comfortable drinking temperature and warm, not hot. Add 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar and stir. Take your horse chestnut extract supplement, 50 milligrams of standardized ASIN, alongside the cup if using capsule form. Drink slowly over 5 to 10 minutes, 30 minutes before going to bed. In the morning, before getting up, take 60 seconds to do ankle circles and gentle foot pumps while still lying in bed. This activates the calf muscle pump, the most important mechanical driver of venous return, and gives the lymphatic system one final assist before you stand up and gravity begins working against it again. Important safety notes. If you are on any diuretic medication, speak to your doctor before starting dandelion root tea, as it has additional fluid clearing effects that could compound your medication. If you are on blood thinning medication, speak to your doctor before taking horse chestnut extract. If you have kidney disease or heart failure, both of which require careful fluid management, consult your physician before making any changes to your fluid and supplement routine. That is your complete bedtime swelling reduction protocol. Dandelion root tea, raw apple cider vinegar, horse chestnut extract Eskin 50 milligrams. Every night 30 minutes before bed, ankle circles in the morning before standing, starting tonight. Write down how swollen your ankles are right now on a scale of 1 to 10. Come back in 7 mornings and leave a comment telling me what your ankles looked like when you woke up. And right now, drop a comment below with your city and your age and tell me how long your legs and ankles have been swelling every day. I want to know your story, and I read every single comment on this channel. Tomorrow, I am revealing the one breakfast edition that directly improves the strength of your vein walls from the inside, a compound so effective at reducing chronic venous insufficiency that it is prescribed as medication in several European countries, but available without prescription in the United States for pennies a day. Subscribe right now and turn on notifications, because that video goes live tomorrow morning and your vein walls need what I am going to share. I am Dr. Michael Kent. Share this video right now with every senior you know whose legs and ankles swell every single day. It costs nothing to share, and tonight it could give someone the first morning in years where their ankles look the way they're supposed to look. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you tomorrow.